used the AI button before, you know that it's right here. So it's right here at the top of every lesson. And just to kind of summarize that button, if you click it, it gives you a few options. You can type anything you want, just like another AI chat like ChatGPT or Google Gemini. You can ask the AI anything, and it's going to do that within the lesson that you're in. You can also attach things like a standard or attach files. So if you have things in Google Docs that you want to include in your lesson, you can download that and add it, which I will add an example of that and show that to you today. You can also use the pre-built suggestions that we already have. So those are the like four basic things that you can do. So you type anything in the chat that you want, attach a standard, attach a file, or use a pre-built suggestion. Okay, so I went over the kind of the basics of all of that last week. Okay, this week I want to get more into showing you more examples of how it works and then talk a little bit more about how to actually use the AI to improve your plans. So, as you can see here, I have 5 blank lessons, but I do have a unit plan attached. So in the unit plan, I'm just going to show you what I have. Here's my unit plan. This is just a muckrakers mini unit. This was one of my favorite topics when I was teaching the progressive era, when I was teaching US history. It was really fun. I loved grossing everyone out when we talked about the jungle and the meat packing plants and how all the food stuff was disgusting before we had those laws in the US. So this was something I just really enjoyed teaching. But so in my unit plan, I've got all the standards that I want to use in the unit, a unit goal, essential question. I have accommodations and modifications laid out for these specific students. I've got some YouTube video links that I might want to use during the course of the unit. And then I also have 5 days of objectives. That's how long I want the unit to be. You can add to your unit anything you want. So you can add a card, you can add more cards. So if you have the assessment, summative assessments, exit tickets, if you have like a day by day plan already planned out for a unit, you could add cards in your unit plan for that if you want to. So your unit plan can be as big or as little as you want. But the reason why I'm showing you that is because anything that is in this unit plan, the AI is going to take into account for each lesson. So for this first day here, if I click on the AI button, I'm just going to say, can you add day 1 of the lesson using my unit plan? Now, I will say one thing just as a tip is you want to be as specific with the AI as possible. So be really specific about what you're looking for and what you want, and that is going to help it give you exactly what you're looking for. So the AI, I will update the lesson's title, gave me a title there. So Muckrakers Unit Day 1, Problems Exposed. It threw in standards, and then it threw in my Day 1 objective, added an agenda, and then, which looks like we need to try that one again because that didn't really work out. And then it added in accommodations and modifications. Okay, so this did not add a whole agenda here. So as you can see in the AI button, I could either accept this. So I could accept this and then I could go in and just type what I want to add for the agenda. Or I could have it try it again, or I could just completely close it out and start over if I want to. So I'm going to add here. So can you add an agenda that is procedures for the lesson? And I'm also going to have it add in estimated times. So this is something that you could do with any lesson in your plan book with the AI. You could ask it to add in estimated times if that's something that you're working on. Okay, so it's thinking. Okay, so it's got my standard still, my objective, and then as you can see, it added that more detailed agenda this time, and then also those estimated times that each part of the lesson is going to take. Okay, so look through that. If you like that, you can go ahead and keep it. I'm going to go ahead and accept that. And then if I do want to, because I know that I want an exit ticket for my lessons, I want to have that added in. So I'm going to go ahead and add a card to this lesson and I'm going to call it exit ticket. And then I'm going to ask the AI to add an exit ticket. And I know that I want the exit ticket to only take students a couple of minutes. So can you add a like 2 minute exit ticket to this lesson? If I could type, that would help. Okay. So it's going to work for a little bit and then we can go down, we can see what it's done here. And then it added that exit ticket to that exit ticket card that I just added to my lesson. So if you like that, go ahead and accept that. If there's parts of this you don't like, you can delete things, change things. It's completely editable after it is added to the lesson. Okay, so then let's say I'm done with the first lesson of the unit. I could go over to day 2 and say, could you add day 2 of the unit? Okay, so it's working on that and it's using everything that I have in this unit plan. So it's adding standards, objective, the agenda, which this time, because the AI is using your unit plan if you have it, and it's also using previous lessons that you've already made. So as you can see, it's kept this same format because it knows on this one here, I wanted that detailed agenda and I wanted the estimated times. So here on that second lesson, it's gone ahead and done that for me. And then it's actually went ahead and added that exit ticket too. So it knows that I added that exit ticket on day 1. Even though I didn't have that exit ticket card here, it still went ahead and did that for me and added that there. Okay, so if you like this, I'm gonna go ahead and keep it. I also want to show you, so obviously it can help you add content, but it can also help you with other things. So I'm gonna add a card here and I'm just gonna call this like standards alignment. And then I wanna check with this. So this could be for any lesson, whether you typed out this whole lesson yourself, whether you had the AI create it or add parts of it, you can ask it questions like this. So does this lesson align with the standards? Okay, so then it's telling me the lesson's objective of identifying, describing muckrakers aligns well with the content, but the selected standards require a higher level of cognitive engagement, such as analysis and assessment. I will revise the objective to better match the rigor of the standards. Okay, so there you can see, there's where it revised it. You could also you could say, hey, I want to keep the objective, but maybe we should change the standards. So you could go ahead and really you can ask it to analyze any part of your lesson. So you could say, hey, this is a good example for something that you could change or revise. I only have 20 minutes for this lesson today. Maybe your day gets turned into a half day, or maybe, I don't know, there was a fire drill or something during the first half of the class period, something unexpected happens and you have to get through a lesson in 20 minutes. Could you update this lesson? Okay. Could you update this lesson to reflect that? Okay, so the AIs went ahead, condensed the lesson plan to fit into 20 minutes. So then if you go down here, you can see how it's updated each part of the agenda and it's updated how long each part is going to take. So it fits within that 20-minute time frame. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and accept that. Okay, make sure I'm getting through things I want to here. Okay, you could also do the same thing with like IEP goals or IEP accommodations. So, like I showed you earlier in my unit plan, I already have student accommodations and modifications there. But if you didn't have this unit plan, you could, if you have IEP accommodations in another document, you could copy those, put those into the AI chat and ask it to differentiate your lesson based on those students and what they would need. You could also attach the document too. So I'm copying and pasting it right here, but you could download it and add it as an attachment. Okay, so it's revising the accommodations and modifications to provide strategies more specific to those students that I just added into the chat and revising some of the parts of the agenda to make sure that it better fits for those particular students. So you can see all that stuff is updated. We can go up here. I'll go ahead and accept that. And then I want to show you what it looks like. So here I have a unit. This is just in my drive. And if this is a whole unit, or it could be any document or resource that you have that you want the AI to take into account when you're planning your lessons. So this is a unit plan, but it could be anything. It could be an individual lesson. It could be just a reading that you're working on. It could be a slides presentation that you have. It could be anything. So I'm going to download this unit. And then I'm going to go back to my plan book here. And I could go into the chat here and say, can you add day 3 of the unit to this lesson? I'm going to add my attachment, include the file. So here's my unit plan that I just downloaded. Okay, so now you can see that that is attached. So it's going to take this into account when I send this chat. Okay, so it's adding content for day 3 based on the attachment. You can see here is the lesson. I'm going to go ahead and accept that. And then let's say that you have all your lessons planned and then you're at day 5 or maybe it's day 6 and you want to have a summative assessment for the unit. So because the AI keeps track of your past 5 lessons as well as the unit plan, but also if you don't have a unit plan, it still keeps track of your past 5 lessons. I could go over to my day 5 or day 6 whenever I was going to do the unit assessment. And I can throw into that lesson, I'm going to add a card. And I'm going to say this is the assessment. Okay, so I added that card. So now I'm going to go to the chat. So can you add a summative assessment for this unit? It's going to think a little bit. Okay, scroll down and you can see that it's filled out that summative assessment card that I added. And another thing, again, that you might want to do is if you have like those accommodations or IEP goals, if you're like a special education teacher working on goals, or if you just are providing accommodations modifications, you could have the throw that in the chat too. Hey, I also need this assessment for this student and this student and this student. Can you tell me how to accommodate this assessment for them? You can also do, I know I'm running on my 20 minutes now, so I'll try to make it quick. But you could also add, you could add in the chat. I'm gonna go ahead and accept that. In the chat, you could say, hey, I have a student that is in the talented and gifted program and they're reading way beyond grade level. I have a student that's reading at the 5th grade level when maybe this is 9th grade. I have a student that's reading at a 6th grade level. You could throw all of those students in there and ask the AI to differentiate that lesson for you for those particular students. There's also things that you can do, such as if you have like Spanish speakers or other language speakers in your class, you can ask it to do things like, can you add the objective in Spanish? Or, for example, another example would be like the exit ticket question if you have a question at the end of class, and it will add that for you. And I could accept that. And that way you have English and Spanish right there ready for your students. If you have like your lessons already planned out and you've got new students coming in with different accommodations, you just throw that in the chat and it can update your lesson for you. Okay, I think I'm at my 20 minutes and those were the big things that I wanted to cover. So let me go see what questions you've got in the chat. See if I can get some of those answered. Ooh, okay, this is a good one. Okay, so their comment is, I'll be teaching 9th, 10th, and 11th graders in the same class. Can CP differentiate a unit lesson content for each grade level in the class? Yeah, okay. So the first thing I want to show you is actually how to do this with the standards. So if you click on the search and add standards button in a lesson, you see one set of standards here. You know, I could go back to Iowa, go back to social studies, pick out the specific set that I want. Right now I have grades 9 through 12 US history pulled up, but you can pull up more than one grade level. So over here, there's this side by side view button. So I could click on that. And because you have 3 grade levels, you could have 3 different sets. Now, the 9 through 12 US history isn't a good example because this is all those grade levels in one set. But let's say that it was like a 9th, a 10th, and an 11th. You could pull up all 3 of those. So I'm just going to pick out some random sets here just to kind of show you what that looks like. So you'll see all 3. And then, so when the AI is planning that lesson, if you had all 3 sets pulled up of standards, then you could close return to lesson. You could say to the AI, hey, in my class, I have 9th, 10th, and 11th graders. So I need this lesson differentiated for all 3 of those grades. I also need standards tagged for all 3 of those grade levels. So yeah, you can definitely throw that in there.